Work hard. Save every penny. Invest in the stock market. One day you'll be rich. That's the promise. The one we've heard our entire lives. It worked for our parents. It worked for our grandparents. But something changed. People are working harder than ever. They're budgeting, cutting costs, investing, and still struggling. Paychecks disappear before the month is over. Rent keeps rising. Groceries, gas, healthcare, everything costs more. But don't worry, there's a billion-dollar industry ready to help. The financial gurus, the experts, the self-made millionaires selling books, courses, and foolproof strategies. And when those strategies don't work, the blame shifts to you. Maybe you didn't try hard enough. Maybe you didn't hustle enough. Maybe if you just skipped your morning coffee, you'd be a millionaire by now. The truth is simpler and much darker. This isn't bad luck. This isn't a personal failure. The system is built to keep you running in circles. For decades, the roadmap to success was simple. Go to school, get a job, save your money, invest wisely, retire comfortably. This wasn't just advice, it was a promise, a system that seemed to work. The middle class was thriving. People could afford homes, raise families on a single income, and retire with me. But something changed. By the time our generation entered the workforce, the rules had shifted. The cost of living outpaced wages, job security disappeared, debt became a way of life, and yet the advice stayed the same. Save more, spend less, invest for the long term, be patient. The finance industry kept repeating these steps as if nothing had changed, and when people struggled, the blame fell on them. If you can't afford a home, it's because you aren't budgeting hard enough. If you're drowning in debt, you must be irresponsible. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, you just need a side hustle. It wasn't just bad advice, it was a complete denial of reality. The personal finance industry exploded in the 1980s. Books, radio shows, television programs, everywhere you looked, someone was offering the secret to financial success. It was an empire built on selling certainty in an uncertain world. Suze Orman, Dave Ramsey, Robert Kiyosaki, self-proclaimed money experts became celebrities, promising that anyone could become wealthy if they just followed their advice. And people believed them, because what other choice did they have? If you're struggling financially, you cling to any hope that someone has figured out the way out. But while millions followed the advice, reality painted a different picture. By the early 2000s, wages had stagnated, but housing prices had doubled. The cost of college skyrocketed, forcing students to take on crushing debt before they even entered the workforce. Meanwhile, billionaires and corporations paid less in taxes than ever before. The wealth gap widened, but personal finance experts never updated their advice. They still preached the same individualistic solutions: save, invest, cut back, while ignoring the larger economic forces at play. The problem wasn't people buying coffee. The problem was that the price of everything else, housing, healthcare, education, kept rising, while wages did not. But admitting that would expose a harsh truth. No amount of budgeting can fix a system designed to keep wealth concentrated at the top. Instead of acknowledging the game was rigged, the finance industry doubled down on their message. If you're not wealthy, it's because you're doing something wrong. And this is where the real business of personal finance thrives. Not in making people rich, but in keeping them hopeful enough to keep chasing wealth, without ever questioning why it's so difficult to achieve. The more people struggled, the more books they bought, the more courses they signed up for, the more desperate they became for a solution. It was never about helping people escape the rat race. It was about making sure they stayed in it, paying for advice that kept them running in circles. Because a struggling population is the perfect customer base. If people actually became financially free, who would keep buying the books? Who would keep tuning into the podcasts? Who would keep looking for the next magic formula? Personal finance wasn't just a self-help movement. It became a billion-dollar industry built on keeping people just hopeful enough to keep playing the game. And for those at the top, that was the real secret to getting rich. The rich don't budget their way to success. They don't worry about saving pennies on groceries or cutting Netflix to build wealth. They use money as a tool, a weapon, a force multiplier. They don't just invest, they own. They own businesses, real estate and stocks, not as long-term savings, but as leverage. They borrow millions at low interest rates, invest it, and profit from inflation while the average person gets crushed by it. Meanwhile, the advice for the rest of us? Play it safe, don't take risks, follow the traditional path, and most importantly, trust the system. But trusting the system is what keeps people trapped, because this system wasn't built for you to win. It was built to keep you working, spending, and feeding into the cycle. The answer isn't to cut back. It's not to budget harder or invest in index funds and hope for the best. The answer is to stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like an owner. First, stop focusing only on saving. Wages are stagnant, but opportunities are everywhere. Skills, business, investing, learn how money moves and use it to your advantage. Second, understand leverage. The rich don't build wealth with their own money. They use debt, investment capital, and networks to multiply what they already have. Third, stop playing the safe game. The system tells you to be cautious, to play by the rules, but those rules were designed to keep you compliant, not wealthy. Most people will keep following the same advice. They'll keep saving, keep cutting back, keep hoping that one day things will change. And then there are those who will wake up, who will stop looking for permission to succeed, who will take control of their finances, their skills, their opportunities, and build wealth on their own terms. The game is rigged, but once you understand the rules, you don't have to play by them anymore.